They tell you manifestation is complicated, that you need endless rituals, perfectly polished affirmations, and hours of visualization to bend reality to your will. But let me ask you a question. If the quantum field contains infinite possibilities, every version of you that could ever exist, why would reality require struggle to give you the one you want? Here's the paradox. Manifestation is so simple, most people can't believe it. It's like standing in front of a door that's already unlocked, but instead of turning the handle, people build elaborate keys, push against the frame, or try breaking the lock with brute force. The truth is, reality isn't impressed by effort. It isn't counting how many times you repeat an affirmation or how long you hold an image in your mind. The quantum field responds to something far more subtle, your signal, and your signal is shaped by who you're being, not what you're doing. But here's the mystery. If it's this simple, why do so few people actually live it? Why do we keep chasing, forcing, and complicating the process when the key is already in our pocket? In the next hour, I'm going to show you why simplicity is the hardest secret to accept, how coherence, not effort, collapses timelines, and how to finally tune your signal so the field mirrors back the life you've been waiting for. So take a breath. Drop whatever you've been taught about working harder at manifestation. We're about to enter the quantum, where simplicity is the code, and alignment is the master key. We've been conditioned since childhood to believe that the harder we work, the more we deserve. That struggle equals value. That pain is proof we're on the right track. So when people hear about manifestation, they carry that same programming into the quantum. They think, if I just try hard enough, if I visualize longer, affirm louder, hustle more relentlessly, then reality will finally reward me. But here's where the paradox lives. The quantum field does not respond to strain. It does not measure your worth in hours logged or energy burned. It mirrors your state of being. Imagine a person digging a hole in the sand at the beach. The harder they shovel, the more the sand collapses in on itself. They're exhausted, covered in sweat, convinced that if they just dig deeper, eventually they'll reach something solid. But the sand keeps pouring back, because the foundation itself is unstable. That's how most people approach manifestation. They fight their current reality as though it's a wall to break down, never realizing the wall is an illusion. In the quantum, what you resist persists, not because the universe is cruel, but because resistance itself is a signal that says, I don't have what I want. I'm separate from it. I need to fight for it. And the field, ever precise, reflects that state back. This is why people repeat affirmations with clenched jaws. They say, I am abundant, while their stomach knots in anxiety. They visualize love, while secretly bracing for rejection. They script their perfect life, while their nervous system hums with the old frequency of survival. It's not the effort that fails, it's the misalignment underneath it. Think about electricity. You don't get more light from a bulb by yelling at it, or by forcing more energy through tangled wires. You get light by creating a clear, coherent circuit. The bulb illuminates effortlessly when the pathway is aligned. Manifestation is the same. Coherence, not effort, is the currency of creation. So why do we cling so tightly to the myth of effort? Because letting go feels unsafe. Because we've been taught that if we stop striving, we'll fall behind. Because our culture worships control, hustle, and visible struggle as proof of worthiness. But here's the hidden cost. Effort born from fear doesn't just delay manifestation, it broadcasts lack. It keeps you locked in the timeline of almost someday, not yet. What if instead of forcing harder, you softened? What if instead of chasing, you tuned? What if the real secret isn't in how much you do, but in how clearly you align? This is the radical invitation the quantum offers. Effort is noise. Alignment is signal. And when you shift into signal, reality doesn't need to be wrestled into place. It bends naturally toward coherence. Right now, as you listen to my voice, you're sitting in the middle of a reality that feels sold, predictable, and linear. You look around and see objects, walls, a phone, a table that seem fixed in place. You believe you're moving forward in time, moment by moment, step by step. But the quantum view tells us this solidity is an illusion. At the most fundamental level, reality is not a fixed structure. It is a vibrating field of probabilities, shimmering with infinite versions of what could be. Think of the quantum field like a vast cosmic canvas. Every possible brushstroke already exists. Every outcome, every version of you, every timeline. But here's the key. None of these possibilities are locked in until observation collapses the way. This is one of the strangest and most beautiful discoveries of modern physics, the observer effect. Before you look, a particle is not a particle. It's a cloud of probability, a wave function existing in many states at once. But the moment it's observed, it crystallizes into one specific outcome. Now, here's where it gets wild. You are that observer, not just with your eyes but with your whole being. Your attention, your expectation, your emotion, your subconscious patterns. All of it acts as a lens that collapses probabilities into lived experience. Let's use a metaphor. Imagine you're standing inside a planetarium. Above you, the dome is covered in stars, galaxies, constellations, thousands of possible stories written across the night sky. Each point of light is a potential reality. Which one you live depends on where you aim your telescope. Most people aim unconsciously. Their telescope is tilted toward fear, lack, or old programming, so the constellations they keep collapsing into are those of struggle, scarcity, and frustration. The stars of abundance and joy are still up there, but they remain invisible until the lens shifts. This is the essence of quantum manifestation. You don't force reality into place. You tune your lens so the probability you want becomes the one that crystallizes. Now, let's talk about coherence. When scientists study particles, they notice something remarkable. A single particle left to itself behaves like a wave of infinite potential. But when multiple particles align in phase moving in the same rhythm, they create coherence, and their power multiplies dramatically. The same principle applies to you. Your thoughts are one frequency, your emotions another, your physical body, breath, posture, nervous system, yet another. When these are scattered, you're like particles out of sync, creating static. The field can't read a clear message, but when your mind, heart, and body line up, when they hum in harmony, you enter coherence. And in coherence, your signal is not just amplified, it becomes irresistible to the field. Like a laser beam cutting through space, coherence directs energy with precision. Think of it like music. A single violin playing off-key sounds messy, lost, unconvincing. But when the whole orchestra tunes together, the resonance fills the room, moves every soul who hears it. Your inner orchestra works the same way. When scattered, you manifest noise. When aligned, you manifest symphony. And here's the part almost no one realizes. Coherence isn't about perfection. It's not about never feeling fear or doubt again. Coherence is about rhythm, about noticing when one instrument drifts out of tune and gently bringing it back, about creating a steady enough signal that the field recognizes your frequency and mirrors it back. Now let's go deeper into probabilities. In quantum mechanics, every possibility already exists as a wave. Imagine walking into a cosmic library. On the shelves are endless books, stories of every life you could live. There's the story where you remain stuck, the story where you thrive, the story where you discover a hidden gift, the story where you never try. All the books are written, none of them are forced upon you. Your job is not to write a new book from scratch, but to choose the shelf that matches your signal. If your energy vibrates with scarcity, you'll find yourself walking down the aisle of struggle and lack. If your energy vibrates with wholeness and trust, you'll naturally drift toward the aisle of abundance. The field doesn't judge which story you pick. It doesn't reward or punish. It simply mirrors. It says, this is your coherence, then this is the shelf you collapse into. This is why manifestation feels magical when you finally align. Because the shift is subtle inside you, but enormous outside. You adjust your inner signal just slightly, and suddenly doors open, coincidences align, people appear at the right time. It looks like luck from the outside, but from the quantum perspective, it's precision. Now let me pause and offer a reflection. Where in your life are you scattering your signal? Where are you thinking abundance but feeling fear? Acting like you trust, while secretly bracing for disappointment? These misalignments are not flaws, they are feedback. They're the field saying, your orchestra is out of tune. So here's a practice. Close your eyes for a moment. Even right now if you can. Breathe slowly. Feel your body. Ask yourself, what station am I tuned to? Not what I want to be tuned to, but what frequency am I actually broadcasting in this moment? The power lies in noticing. Because the moment you notice, you create a choice point. A chance to shift the dial. To retune. To step from noise into coherence. And when you step into coherence, reality reorganizes around you. Not because you forced it, but because you became the observer who chose a different probability. And the field had no choice but to reflect it back. So remember this. The quantum field is not a machine to hack. It's not a vending machine that dispenses results when you push the right buttons. It's a mirror, a canvas, a living intelligence that listens to your signal and collapses probability into form. When you realize this, life stops being about struggle and starts being about resonance. You stop fighting waves and start surfing them. You stop chasing reality and start co-creating it. This is the heart of quantum manifestation. The field holds everything. You collapse what you're coherent with. And the question is never, how do I get it? The real question is, what am I tuned to right now? In physics, the observer effect is one of the most mysterious truths we've discovered. Before measurement, a particle exists as a wave, a cloud of probabilities, spread across countless possible positions. But the instant you observe it, the wave collapses into a single outcome. Now that sounds like a strange laboratory curiosity, something reserved for physicists in white coats. But here's the truth most people overlook. You are observing reality every moment of your life, not just with your eyes, but with your beliefs, your expectations, your subconscious filters. The world you see is not the world. It is your version of the world, collapsed out of infinite potential by the lens of your consciousness. And here's the twist. The part of you doing most of that observing is not your conscious mind, it's the hidden mind, the subconscious. Think about it. Your conscious thoughts are like the tip of an iceberg, visible above the surface. But below the waterline, massive and unseen, lies the subconscious. Your stored memories, your inherited patterns, your programmed beliefs about what is safe, possible, or real. That subconscious is constantly scanning, constantly filtering, constantly choosing which probabilities you collapse into reality. Let's use a metaphor. Imagine you're wearing a pair of tinted glasses, and you've forgotten you have them on. If the lenses are red, the entire world looks red. If they're blue, the world looks blue. You might argue about what color reality really is, but the truth is you're only seeing through your filter. Your subconscious beliefs are those lenses. If deep down you believe money is hard to earn, you will collapse into timelines that confirm that struggle. If you carry the imprint that love equals abandonment, you'll unconsciously select relationships that play out that pattern. If your nervous system is wired to expect danger, you'll consistently find yourself in realities where danger exists. Not because the universe is cruel, but because your hidden observer keeps choosing the shelf that matches its lens. This is why people can consciously want abundance while subconsciously expecting lack. And they keep getting lack. The conscious says, I deserve prosperity. The subconscious whispers, but I've always struggled. The field listens to both, and since the subconscious is stronger, its signal dominates. Think of the subconscious as the autopilot of an airplane. You might be the pilot sitting in the cockpit, hands on the wheel, consciously steering north. But if the autopilot is secretly programmed for west, no matter how hard you tug, eventually the plane drifts back on course with the hidden program. This is why changing your life requires more than affirmations. It requires updating the autopilot. Now let's bring the observer effect into daily life. Have you ever noticed how two people can live through the exact same situation and walk away with completely different realities? One sees opportunity, the other sees disaster. One feels empowered, the other feels victimized. The event itself is neutral. The difference is in the observer. Your subconscious carries thousands of hidden observers inside you, each one shaped by childhood experiences, cultural conditioning, ancestral memory. Some observers are tuned to joy, others are tuned to fear, and whichever observer is most active in the moment is the one collapsing probabilities into your lived reality. The quantum field, remember, doesn't argue. It doesn't say, wait, let me give you what you consciously want instead. It reflects the observer's signal with perfect precision. So how do you shift? How do you reprogram the hidden observer? First, awareness. You cannot change what you do not see. Begin by noticing the results showing up in your life. They are mirrors. If you're collapsing timelines of scarcity, what does that say about your subconscious lens? If you're collapsing timelines of struggle and love, what hidden belief keeps steering the ship? Second, safety. The subconscious is designed to protect you, not sabotage you. If it's resisting abundance, it's because somewhere along the way, Abundance was linked with danger, maybe jealousy, loss, betrayal. If it's resisting love, it's because love was once linked with pain. The subconscious clings to old programs because it thinks they're safe. The key is not to fight the subconscious, but to show it a new kind of safety, to soothe the nervous system, to create new reference points, to let the hidden observer learn that joy is safe, abundance is safe, love is safe. Third, coherence. Remember, when your conscious mind and subconscious mind align, your signal becomes unstoppable. But when they're at odds, the stronger current wins, and the subconscious is always stronger. So manifestation isn't about forcing the conscious mind to shout louder. It's about gently teaching the subconscious a new song, until both voices harmonize. Here's a powerful exercise. Sit quietly and bring to mind something you desire, something big. Maybe wealth, maybe a soulmate, maybe radiant health. Say it to yourself, I desire this. Now pause, and feel into your body. Notice what whispers rise from underneath. Do you feel a tightening in your chest, a doubt in your gut, a voice that says, that's not possible? That whisper is the hidden observer revealing itself. Instead of pushing it away, thank it. It's been trying to protect you. Then ask, what new story would feel safe for you to believe? You might be surprised at what comes up. The observer effect shows us that reality is not fixed. The subconscious shows us that most of our reality is being chosen in the shadows. Put them together and you realize the real work of manifestation is bringing light into those shadows, updating the hidden observers, aligning the autopilot with the destination your conscious mind truly desires. And when you do, something magical happens. Suddenly, you're no longer fighting yourself. Your conscious desire and subconscious expectation merge. Your signal becomes coherent, and the field, precise as always, collapses into that harmony. This is how you step into new timelines, not by force but by shifting the observer that chooses them. So remember this, you don't get what you want, you get what your subconscious believes is safe. You don't manifest what you shout, you manifest what you silently expect. And when your hidden observer is updated, entire lifetimes of struggle can dissolve in a moment, because the lens itself has changed. At the quantum level, reality is waiting. The probabilities are endless. The question is which observer inside you will collapse the wave. When most people hear about manifestation, they treat it like a hunt. They imagine reality as prey to be chased, captured, and conquered. If they can just sprint hard enough toward their goals, repeat enough affirmations, hustle enough hours, strategize enough steps, then maybe, just maybe, reality will finally deliver. But here's the paradox: chasing guarantees separation. To chase something is to declare, it is not here, it is out there. I am incomplete until I catch it. And that very state of being, lack, incompleteness, hunger, becomes the signal you broadcast to the field. The universe does not respond to your words. It responds to your state. And chasing is the state of not having. Embodiment, on the other hand, is an entirely different signal. To embody is not to chase what is missing, but to become the frequency of what is already yours. To step into the timeline where it is natural, obvious, inevitable. Think of a radio. If you want to hear classical music, you don't run around the room chasing invisible sound waves. You simply tune the dial to the station already broadcasting. The music was always there, waiting. Embodiment is that tuning process. You don't beg reality to change. You align yourself to the channel where it's already true. Let's take an example. Imagine someone desperate for love. They go on endless dates, anxiously scanning every interaction for signs of rejection or approval. They chase, hoping to convince reality to give them affection. But beneath it all, their state is I am unloved. That state collapses timelines where love remains elusive, and the cycle repeats. Now imagine the same person shifting into embodiment. They begin to become love itself, treating themselves with tenderness, radiating warmth, filling their own life with joy. Their signal shifts from I am unloved to I am loved, and in that coherence, timelines open where others naturally respond because the field mirrors what's embodied, not what's chased. Here's another image. Picture a moth flying around a flame. The harder it beats its wings, the more frantic it becomes. That is chasing. But embodiment is the flame itself. You stop flying in circles and instead become the light that draws what belongs to you. Why is embodiment more powerful? Because the field doesn't speak the language of effort. It speaks the language of vibration. When you embody, you collapse the gap between wanting and being. You eliminate the chase entirely, because you are already vibrating as the reality you desire. This is why people sometimes say, when I stopped trying, it finally happened. The relationship showed up when they stopped searching. The money flowed when they stopped gripping. The opportunity arrived when they finally relaxed. From the outside, it looks like luck, but what really happened was a shift from forcing to embodying. Now let's bring this down to practice. Forcing feels like tension in the body. Your shoulders tighten. Your jaw clenches. Your mind races with how. You are pushing against the current, fighting to make water flow uphill. Embodiment, by contrast, feels like openness. A breath that drops deeper. A body that softens. A quiet knowing that what you desire is not something you chase, but something you allow. Embodiment doesn't mean pretending. It doesn't mean faking joy when you're hurting, or plastering affirmations over wounds. True embodiment is about resonance. It's about asking, how would I move, breathe, speak, if this were already true? Then letting your nervous system practice that reality until it becomes natural. For example, if abundance were already true, how would you carry yourself when paying a bill? Would you grimace, tense up, feel fear, or would you exhale, trust, and move with ease? To embody abundance is to begin living that ease now, not later. If love were already true, how would you treat your own heart? Would you neglect it, criticize it, abandon it? Or would you nurture it, celebrate it, honor it? To embody love is to start offering yourself what you once hoped another would bring. If purpose were already true, how would you wake in the morning? Would you drag yourself through routine, or rise with a spark of alignment? To embody purpose is to create rituals, however small, that remind your body of what it feels like to live meaningfully. This is not performance. This is resonance. You're not pretending until you make it. You are rehearsing the frequency until it becomes your natural state. And the quantum field, tuned to coherence, reflects it back. Think of dancers practicing a choreography. At first the movements are awkward, forced, mechanical, but as the body remembers, the dance becomes effortless. Embodiment is that rehearsal of vibration, until the desired reality is no longer a chase but your second nature. Now let's talk about forcing one more time. Forcing often comes from fear. Fear that if you stop pushing, nothing will happen. Fear that the universe won't deliver unless you wrestle it into submission. But the truth is, forcing is the very signal that delays. It's like shouting instructions into a microphone that's already broadcasting static. The louder you yell, the less clear the message becomes. Embodiment is the opposite. It is quiet, steady, magnetic. It's like tuning that microphone to the right frequency so your whisper is heard clearly across the field. So ask yourself right now, where am I chasing? Where am I trying to force life into a shape it doesn't want to take? And what would shift if I embodied the outcome instead of pursuing it? The secret is this. Chasing is the state of absence. Embodiment is the state of presence. And reality always reflects the state you inhabit. When you embody, you don't have to convince the field. You don't have to grip or strain. You simply become the resonance of what you desire, and reality organizes itself accordingly. Because in the quantum, you don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. Sometimes the most powerful truths can't be explained with equations, only with images, stories, and symbols. Metaphors are bridges. They give the mind a way to glimpse what the heart already knows. So let's explore quantum manifestation through a gallery of images, mirrors, holograms, music, constellations, each one revealing a new facet of the same diamond, the mirror of reality. Imagine waking each morning and standing in front of a mirror. You raise your right hand and the reflection raises its left. You smile, and the mirror smiles back. The reflection never moves first. It only mirrors what you embody. Reality works exactly the same way. The world you experience is not a generator but a reflection. When you feel lack, the mirror shows you lack. When you feel abundance, the mirror gleams with opportunities. But here's the catch. Many people stand in front of the mirror and beg for the reflection to smile before they do. They scowl at the glass, demanding proof of joy, all while broadcasting misery. And the mirror, faithful and neutral, reflects their scowl. The quantum field is that mirror, not judging, not withholding, simply reflecting the signal you send. When you embody the smile, the mirror lights up instantly. So ask yourself, what face are you presenting to the mirror of reality? The hologram of existence. Now imagine a hologram, a shimmering image that looks three-dimensional but is made of light. The most fascinating thing about a hologram is that each tiny fragment of it contains the whole picture. Break it apart, and every piece still holds the image of the whole. Reality is a hologram. You are a hologram. Every cell of your body contains the entire blueprint of the universe. Every moment of your life is a fractal reflection of the whole. This means you don't have to control the entire cosmos to shift your timeline. You only need to shift your fragment, your frequency, your coherence. The hologram responds instantly, reorganizing the image. Change the way you breathe in this moment, and the entire holographic projection of your reality begins to shift. Small acts ripple across the whole. This is why embodiment matters so much. You don't need to wrestle reality into form. You only need to alter your fragment of the hologram, and the rest reorganizes around you. The symphony of the field. Think of the universe as a grand orchestra. Strings, brass, percussion, woodwinds, an infinite symphony of possibilities. Each thought you think, each feeling you hold, each action you take, is like a note you play into this orchestra. If your thoughts are frantic violins, your emotions heavy drums, and your actions dissonant horns, the result is noise, chaos, confusion, incoherence. But when you bring your inner instruments into harmony, something miraculous happens. A melody emerges, a symphony. The field resonates. The quantum field responds to coherence, like a concert hall responds to resonance. Strike the right note and the entire chamber vibrates in sympathy. You don't have to play loudly. You don't have to outshout the orchestra. You only need to find harmony within yourself, and the field amplifies it. This is why one coherent person can shift an entire room. Why someone radiating peace can calm others instantly. Their signal harmonizes the orchestra, and the field carries it outward. The constellations above. Now look up at the night sky. Stars scattered across the dark canvas. For millennia, humans have connected these stars into constellations. Orion, Cassiopeia, the Big Dipper. But here's the secret. The stars were always just points of light. The shapes were not out there. They were drawn by the human mind, the observer, connecting the dots. Reality works the same way. The events of your life are stars scattered across time, neutral points of possibility. But it is your perception, your story, your meaning-making that draws the constellation. One person sees chaos, another sees destiny. One sees failure, another sees initiation. The stars don't dictate the pattern. You do. You are the constellation maker. And the moment you change the story, the moment you connect the dots differently, a new constellation emerges, and with it, a new reality. The radio dial of frequency. Here's another image, a radio dial. Infinite stations are broadcasting right now. Jazz, rock, news, silence, static. Which one you hear depends only on the dial you choose. The quantum field is broadcasting infinite timelines at once. Wealth and poverty, love and loneliness, vitality and sickness. All of them exist simultaneously. But your dial, your state of being, determines which one becomes your lived reality. Trying to manifest from fear is like screaming play jazz while your dial is tuned to static. The field doesn't respond to your words. It responds to your frequency. Embodiment is tuning the dial. Once you match the frequency, the station was always there, waiting for you to hear it. The garden of timelines. Imagine your life as a vast garden filled with countless seeds. Each seed holds a different possibility. Success, failure, love, heartbreak, health, struggle. The quantum field is the soil, infinitely fertile, willing to grow whatever you plant. Your attention is water. Your emotion is sunlight. Whatever seed you nurture will grow into form. Most people don't realize this. They water the weeds of fear, doubt, and lack, then wonder why their garden overflows with struggle. But the soil is not biased. It simply grows what is nourished. Embodiment is choosing which seeds to water with your state. It's tending the garden consciously, knowing the harvest will reflect the care you give today. The lighthouse of coherence. Picture a stormy sea. Waves crashing, winds howling, ships tossed about in chaos. And in the distance a lighthouse stands, shining a steady beam of light across the storm. That is coherence. When you embody the signal of trust, of abundance, of love, You become the lighthouse. You don't control the sea, you don't calm the storm, but your steady signal guides reality toward you. Chasing is being the ship tossed around, reactive, frantic. Embodiment is being the lighthouse, still, radiant, magnetic. And the field, like the sailors, responds to the light. The sculptor of time. Imagine a sculptor, chiseling away at a block of marble. With each strike of the hammer, the hidden statue emerges. To the untrained eye, it looks like destruction. Stone breaking, pieces falling away. But the sculptor knows, they are revealing what was always inside. The quantum field works the same way. When you embody the frequency of your desired reality, the timelines that don't match it begin to fall away. Old habits, limiting beliefs, outdated relationships crumble. It may look like loss, but it is revelation. You are the sculptor. The timeline you desire is already inside the marble of infinite possibilities. Your embodiment is the chisel that reveals it, the echo of the heart. Finally, imagine standing in a canyon and shouting into the vastness. Your words bounce back, not as they were but magnified, stretched, echoed. Reality is the canyon. Your heart is the voice. Whatever signal you send, the field echoes back. If you cry out in fear, the canyon multiplies it. If you sing in joy, the canyon amplifies it. This is why small shifts matter. Even a whisper of coherence, even a quiet heartbeat of trust, can echo into a symphony across the canyon of existence. Here's the hidden thread through all these metaphors. You are not a passive receiver of reality. You are the mirror, the hologram, the musician, the constellation maker, the gardener, the lighthouse, the sculptor, the voice in the canyon. Each image reminds you of the same truth. The field does not move first. You do. The quantum waits for your embodiment, your signal, your coherence. And when you shift, the entire tapestry of reality rearranges itself to reflect you. So pause and ask which metaphor speaks to you most deeply. Are you tuning the dial, watering the seeds, chiseling the marble, or lighting the stormy sea? Whichever image resonates is the one the field is already whispering to you. Follow it. Embody it. Let it become your practice. Because in the end, the metaphors are not just symbols, they are portals. Each one a doorway into the lived experience of quantum manifestation. And when you step through, you discover that the magic was never out there. It was always you, reflected back 1,000 ways. When we talk about manifestation, most people immediately think of thoughts, visualizations, affirmations, mental discipline. But here's a hidden truth. Your mind alone cannot collapse a timeline. The quantum field responds not to what you think, but to what you embody. And embodiment is physiological, not just mental. Your nervous system is the bridge between your inner world and the quantum field. It is the instrument through which your energy resonates. Imagine it as the strings of a harp. When tight with tension, the strings vibrate with discord. When relaxed and tuned, a single pluck produces clear, harmonious tones. Your thoughts are just intentions. Your emotions the tension on the strings. Alignment comes when both are integrated through your body. Emotions are the language of the nervous system. Fear, anxiety, scarcity, and stress aren't just feelings, they are patterns stored in your body, rippling through cells, muscles, and even your heartbeat. They generate electrical and electromagnetic signals that the field reads with absolute precision. You can say, "I am abundant," 1,000 times, but if your nervous system is vibrating fear, the field mirrors that tension back. It doesn't lie. It simply reflects the dominant signal. This is why trying to manifest purely through thoughts often fails. The mental layer can be polished and rehearsed, but if your physiology is out of alignment, the subconscious autopilot overrides it. The body remembers trauma, scarcity, and survival signals long after the mind believes it is safe. Until the body resonates with trust and presence, the quantum cannot collapse into your desired timeline. So how do we bring alignment? The key is regulation, not suppression, not forcing positivity. Regulation is the art of bringing your nervous system back into coherence when it's wobbling. It is noticing the tension, acknowledging it, and allowing the system to recalibrate. Breath is a gateway. Slow, deep, rhythmic breathing communicates safety to your nervous system. It tells your body, "You are okay. I am in charge. The threat has passed." Heart rate variability, vagal tone, muscle relaxation. All of these physiological states signal to the field that your internal environment is stable and coherent. When your internal environment stabilizes, the field can respond to your signal rather than the noise of stress. Movement also plays a critical role. Gentle stretching, grounding exercises, even a walk outside allows the body to release trapped energy, reset its oscillations, and step into a state of flow. Your body isn't a passive vessel, it is an active participant, constantly communicating with the quantum. When you move with presence, your nervous system broadcasts clarity and coherence. Emotional fluency is equally essential. Feeling your emotions without judgment or resistance allows the nervous system to process rather than get stuck. You might feel anxiety, grief, or longing, but instead of reacting with suppression or avoidance, you acknowledge it. I see you, I feel you, and I am safe. That acknowledgement creates a feedback loop of integration, the signal to the field that you are coherent and whole. In practice, this could look like pausing midday, placing a hand on your heart, taking a deep breath, and asking, "What state am I broadcasting right now?" It's a simple moment of self-observation that realigns your nervous system and recalibrates your signal. Over time, these small interventions strengthen your internal coherence, making your embodiment of desired timelines much more natural and sustainable. Ultimately, manifestation is as much a physiological practice as it is a mental or emotional one. Alignment is not achieved by trying harder with your mind. It is cultivated through the body. Your nervous system holds the key to becoming the signal that the quantum field can read with perfect clarity. The mental strategies, the visualizations, the affirmations, they are tools. The body is the instrument. And until that instrument is in tune, the melody of your desires will remain just out of reach. When you integrate breath, movement, emotional acknowledgement, and nervous system regulation, the field finally receives a coherent signal, not fragmented, not chaotic, not forced, but a resonance that matches the reality you are ready to embody. At this point, manifestation is no longer a struggle. It becomes an elegant dance between your internal state and the infinite possibilities waiting in the field. Let's take everything we've explored so far: the field, coherence, embodiment, nervous system regulation, and see it play out in real life. Manifestation isn't abstract. It is woven into every heartbeat, every choice, every interaction. And the beauty is that each domain, abundance, love, health, can be approached through the same principle, becoming the signal first, before the form appears. Abundance. Imagine abundance not as money in the bank, but as a vibration inside you. Many people chase it with frantic energy, hustling, stressing, monitoring, comparing. That is the frequency of lack, dressed as effort. The field reads it perfectly. Now imagine someone embodying abundance instead. They start by noticing what is already present: a warm cup of coffee, a kind word from a friend, the comfort of a roof over their head. They allow themselves to feel the fullness of gratitude and generosity in small ways, offering attention, time, or even a smile to a stranger. The nervous system relaxes, tension drops, the signal becomes coherent. In this state, opportunities often arrive unexpectedly. A new contract, a surprise bonus, a chance encounter, because the field is reflecting the frequency, not the chase. You become a living magnet, not through striving, but through resonance. Love. Love is even subtler. Many search for it externally, scrolling, dating, hoping someone will fill the void inside. The signal is, "I am incomplete. I need you to complete me." And the field mirrors that exact longing. Embodiment shifts the signal. You begin by nurturing the relationship you have with yourself, listening to your needs, practicing self-compassion, softening around vulnerabilities, allowing connection without demand. You radiate warmth, curiosity, and openness. Your body, mind, and heart are aligned. Suddenly, interactions that once felt random now feel meaningful. You notice synchronicities: a smile that lingers, a conversation that resonates. It isn't magic, it's the field responding to a coherent vibration. You no longer chase love, you become it. Health. Health is the ultimate integration of mind, body, and energy. Many attempt to manifest it by controlling their diet, exercising excessively, or obsessing over symptoms, but without nervous system alignment, these efforts can become stress triggers, sending the field mixed signals: "I want vitality," but the body whispers, "I am under siege." True embodiment of health begins with subtle cues. You listen to your body, Honor its rhythms, breathe deeply, move with presence, nourish it without fear, and allow rest as a practice. Emotional regulation is key, releasing anxiety, cultivating ease, and integrating positive sensations. In this aligned state, the body itself becomes the signal. Symptoms shift, energy rises, and vitality emerges, not as a distant goal, but as a natural reflection of the internal coherence you have cultivated. The quantum field mirrors your embodiment perfectly. The unifying thread. Notice the common pattern across these examples. It's never about forcing, it's about becoming. Abundance, love, health. They are not destinations, they are frequencies. The field doesn't respond to frantic effort. It responds to a coherent signal. In each case, alignment precedes manifestation. Gratitude over lack, self-love over longing, presence over worry. By cultivating internal resonance, the external reality begins to reflect what is already true within you. Real-world manifestation looks effortless, because the effort has shifted from external chasing to internal becoming. The signal is pure, the frequency is stable, and the field, like a faithful mirror, organizes reality around that coherence. Your invitation. Pause for a moment. Ask yourself, in which area of life am I still chasing? Where am I sending scattered signals, hoping the universe will fix the outcome? And how can I embody the frequency instead? Starting today, right now, in subtle ways that feel natural and aligned. Remember, quantum manifestation is not about what you do, it's about who you are being. When you embody the signal, abundance, love and health are not distant goals, they are already rippling through your reality, waiting for you to recognize and resonate with them. Now we move from theory to living, actionable experience. Quantum manifestation isn't a concept to memorize, it's a practice to embody. The techniques I'm about to share work because they operate at the level of energy, not just intellect. Breathing is a gateway. Breath is the bridge between consciousness and the field. Unlike thoughts which can scatter, your breath is immediate, tangible, and transformative. But this is not ordinary breathing. It's intentional, rhythmical, and measured. Start by observing your inhale. Notice the rise in your chest, the subtle expansion of your diaphragm. Then trace the exhale fully, releasing tension from every cell. Next, experiment with micro-pauses. Between inhale and exhale, create a brief stillness, a moment where your awareness floats, untethered to any thought or expectation. These micro-pauses signal the quantum field. I am here, I am coherent, I am ready to receive. Over time, your body begins to anticipate alignment with every breath, reinforcing a state of natural attunement. Attunement, becoming sensitive to frequency. Attunement is the art of detecting subtle shifts in your internal and external environment. Start by noticing micro-cues in your body, the tension behind your eyes, the flutter in your stomach, the tightness in your shoulders. Then extend that sensitivity outward. Observe the energy in a room, the subtle tone in someone's voice, the rhythm of natural life around you. The practice is simple but profound. Tune in without judgment. As you attune, your awareness becomes a tuning fork, picking up frequencies that were invisible before. You no longer impose your will. Instead, you respond to the resonance that naturally invites the timelines you desire. Micro-shifts, tiny adjustments, massive impact. Quantum alignment thrives on subtlety. Massive, desperate efforts create turbulence. Micro-shifts create clarity. For example, notice a posture adjustment. Lifting your chest slightly, relaxing your jaw, uncurling your hands. These tiny gestures change the flow of energy through your body, which reverberates through the quantum field. Similarly, micro-shifts in attention matter, redirecting focus from scarcity to curiosity, from fear to wonder, from reaction to observation, is like nudging the dials of reality. Each adjustment may feel minor, but repeated consistently, these shifts accumulate, reorganizing the probabilities around you. Anchoring practices. One of the most underappreciated aspects of embodiment is anchoring. Once you experience coherence, you must anchor it in the body. This could be as simple as pressing your hands together, feeling your feet against the ground, or humming a tone that resonates in your chest. These physical signals imprint the state of alignment into your physiology, creating a feedback loop. Your nervous system remembers the resonance, and the field responds to that remembered frequency. Another method is sensory layering, combining breath, posture, and awareness simultaneously. Inhale while visualizing the timeline you desire. Notice subtle emotional shifts, and hold a small, coherent gesture with your body. This multidimensional practice multiplies the strength of your signal, integrating micro-practices into daily life. Quantum practices don't need to be lengthy rituals. They work best when integrated seamlessly into your day. Take a 30-second pause before answering a message, and breathe with awareness. Feel the coherence before entering a meeting. Adjust your posture when you sense tension. Observe a fleeting emotion and allow it to recalibrate without judgment. The principle is small, intentional adjustments build momentum. These practices compound invisibly, quietly shaping your reality from the inside out. Over days and weeks, the quantum field responds not because you chased, forced, or demanded, but because you became a consistent signal that resonates with the life you intend to live. Now that you've glimpsed the mechanics of the quantum field and begun exploring embodiment, it's time to bring this energy into connection. Manifestation thrives in resonance, and one of the most powerful accelerators is shared alignment. You are not isolated in this process. Your vibration interacts with the collective field, amplifying coherence when others tune in with intention. Let's start with a simple exercise. Take a deep grounding breath, and choose one word that represents the energy you want to cultivate this week. It might be trust, expansion, clarity, or something entirely personal. Keep it in mind as you breathe, and let it resonate through your body. Feel how it shifts your posture, your heartbeat, and even the tone of your inner voice. This is your signal, the frequency you are sending into the field. Next, bring it outward. Share that word with this community in the comments. By doing so, you are not just stating an intention, you are co-creating a collective resonance. Each word submitted is like a note in a larger symphony, strengthening the vibration of aligned possibility. You can even read others' words and let them inspire micro-adjustments in your own state, feeling the subtle interplay of shared focus. Here's another practice to integrate immediately. Pick one small action today that embodies your chosen energy. Perhaps it's offering a compliment without expectation, pausing to breathe before reacting to tension, or writing a quick note of gratitude. The field responds to these concrete expressions of internal alignment. By taking action from coherence, you anchor the signal and create momentum. Finally, consider this an invitation to observe and reflect. At the end of the day, pause and notice. When did your signal feel strong? When did it wobble? Where did the field respond in ways that surprised you? Journal these moments, no matter how small. Patterns will emerge, revealing the invisible threads of influence between your state and the world around you. The power of quantum manifestation is amplified when shared. By engaging with this space, practicing subtle alignment, and interacting with others committed to embodiment, you create a feedback loop that magnifies clarity, coherence, and manifestation. This is not just learning, it's living, together, in a field of infinite possibility. As we reach the final moments of this journey together, I want to leave you with something more than concepts or techniques. I want to leave you with a doorway, a question that invites the field to respond in ways you cannot yet imagine. Consider your life as a canvas of infinite potential, every experience a brushstroke, influenced not just by effort, but by the clarity of your signal. You have explored the mechanics of coherence, the role of your nervous system, the subtlety of microshifts, and the power of embodiment. You have glimpsed how abundance, love, and health emerge when you radiate alignment. And yet the true magic lies not in knowledge, but in presence. So here is the question. What would your life look like if you fully embodied the version of yourself who already has everything you desire? And then for just one moment, let go of needing proof. Pause and feel the weight of that. No forcing, no overthinking, no checking the evidence. Simply imagining, sensing, and living as if the timeline you desire is already unfolding through you. What sensations arise? What shifts in your posture, your breath, your attention? Where does your nervous system relax, and where does it tighten? Notice that this question does not require an answer in words. It is not a challenge to solve, but an invitation to exist within possibility. The field does not respond to explanations, plans, or rationalizations. It responds to coherence, presence, and authenticity. By sitting with this question, you become both observer and participant, tuning into a vibration that begins to organize reality around itself. Carry this question with you as you move through the day, through the week, through every subtle moment of choice. Let it ripple through your actions, your breath, your attention. Allow it to remind you that manifestation is not a distant reward. It is an unfolding dance between your inner resonance and the infinite potential around you. And here is the final reflection to leave you with. Where in your life could you stop chasing, release the timeline you think you need, and simply become the signal that the universe is already waiting for? Sit with it. Feel it. Let it expand. The answers are not outside of you, they are in the alignment you create, moment by moment, with every breath, every pulse, every thought, and every action.